This is an overview video for the topic of collecting data. So in this graphic organizer, you'll see immediately two distinct buckets, if you will. There are the qualitative data collection techniques and quantitative data collection techniques. And we'll talk about the qualitative collection techniques. And one thing that is really important to understand is that each of these data collection techniques also is embedded in a different paradigm, right? We talked about the qualitative paradigm, and if you look at the quality in terms of what is good research, what is good data, right? What's the quality of data, right? We really focus in the qualitative framework on accuracy, credibility, and dependability. Those are characteristics that are important for qualitative research. Whereas in quantitative the paradigm or in that framework, we are really concerned with the validity and the reliability of the data, right? So there are a little bit different ways of looking at the data. Now, in terms of collecting qualitative data, you can see this in different buckets. We have observational data, we have interviews, we have journals, or we can also look at existing documents and records, right? So we have different sources of interviews. And then we could also go even broader and say, how about, interpreting different artifacts that we see, right? For example, also different photos or pictures or videos, or even the ways that people express themselves, right? There's all kinds of data that could become qualitative data. When we look at quantitative data collection techniques, right, typically we use surveys, questionnaires, and rating scales. Other ways, there's also checklists or then tests and other formal instruments, right? For example, psychological tests, and even a lot of the rating scales, they are actually a lot of work to initially develop, right? So especially when we take psychological tests or ability tests, right? Those are really they're really a topic for itself, and you'll see there I have some additional videos about how you develop surveys, how you develop tests. But again, tests and surveys, it's good to know how are they being developed. Typically for us, if we're applied and practical researchers, we try to find existing instruments that we can use, right? Because again, to have a valid and reliable rating scale or a valid and reliable test, that it does require quite some investment of time and often also quite a bit of money to develop these instruments. So again, to summarize these two big buckets, right? We have qualitative data collection techniques, we have quantitative data collection techniques, and both of these are part of two different paradigms. And also keep in mind that if we do mixed methods, we can also combine these, right? And now what's then really important to think about is, how does my research question align with my data, right? So what kind of data would help me answer my research question? Maybe that's more of an interview or analyzing existing sources and documents, right? Or maybe you are wanting to give a survey to people, or you might have to use a test, or maybe there is a certain quiz or a state test for example, a CASP or a literacy exam or whatever it may be that you want to use to pull in as a form of quantitative data.